22 years, you just threw it all away with your cheating.
Marriage is like drywall. Looks good till you tap it and find the rot underneath. I'm standing in my half-renovated kitchen at 6:30 on a Tuesday morning, staring at the hole I punched through the wall last weekend. Not in anger, though God knows I've had plenty of reasons lately, but because I was trying to run electrical wire and hit a stud wrong. The jagged edges of sheetrock remind me of my life these days. Everything's falling apart, and I'm the only one who seems to notice. My name is Nate Garvey. I'm 41 years old, and I work construction for a living. I've got calloused hands, a bad knee from my amateur boxing days, and a wife who thinks I'm invisible. The knee aches when it rains, which in Tacoma means it aches about 300 days a year. Today's no exception. You're up early. Val's voice cuts through my thoughts like a circular saw through pine. She's standing in the doorway wearing her gray business suit, the one that costs more than I make in a week. Her blonde hair is pulled back in that severe bun she's been favoring lately, and her makeup is already perfect. She's been getting up earlier and earlier these past few months, always rushing off to meetings and client dinners that seem to happen every other night. Couldn't sleep, I tell her, which is the truth. I've been lying awake listening to her phone buzz with text messages at all hours. When I asked about it last week, she said it was work. When I asked what kind of work requires communication at 2 a.m, she said I wouldn't understand the logistics business. She's probably right. I understand concrete and rebar, not whatever it is she does at her father's company. I'll be late tonight, she says, checking her phone. Always checking that damn phone. Winston wants me to review the quarterly reports with the new consultant. The new consultant. That would be Eric Lang, our daughter Megan's husband of 2 years. 34 years old, ex-military, runs some kind of business consulting firm that nobody can quite explain. He's got that slick confidence that comes from never having to work with your hands, never having to worry about making payroll or whether the job site will be rained out. The kind of guy who wears expensive suits and drives a restored Mustang and somehow convinced my 19-year-old daughter to marry him when she should have been finishing college. How late? I ask. I don't know, Nate. Late. Don't wait up. She's already moving toward the door, heels clicking on the hardwood floor we installed together 3 summers ago. Back when she still pretended to care about our home improvement projects. Back when she'd hand me tools and laugh at my jokes and we'd end up making love on the sawdust-covered floor of whatever room we were working on. Val. She stops but doesn't turn around. When's the last time we had dinner together? Just us? I don't know. We're both busy. I'm not busy. I'm here every night by 6. She sighs, the kind of sigh that says she's tired of having this conversation. Some of us have careers that don't end when the whistle blows, Nate. And there it is. The little dig. The reminder that I'm just a construction worker while she's an executive. Never mind that I own my own crew now. That I've got 8 guys depending on me for steady work. That I've built half the custom homes in this neighborhood with these hands she's so quick to dismiss. The front door slams, and I'm alone with my coffee in the hole in the wall. My phone rings. Megan. Hey, sweetheart. Dad, can we talk? I mean, really talk? There's something in her voice. A tension I haven't heard since she was 16 and caught her boyfriend cheating. Of course, what's wrong? Not over the phone. Can you meet me for lunch? I'll make time. Where? That little diner on Pacific, the one with the good pie. Mel's. I'll be there at noon. Dad, don't tell Mom, okay? Or Eric. The line goes dead, and I'm staring at my phone, wondering what the hell is going on. Megan's always been close to me, closer than she is to her mother, but she's never asked me to keep secrets from her husband. They seemed happy enough at Christmas, though, now that I think about it, Eric spent most of the day on his phone handling a client emergency. I finish my coffee and head out to the job site. We're framing a house in North Tacoma, one of those expensive neighborhoods where people like Eric live. The kind of place where the lawns are always perfect and the garbage cans disappear the moment the truck leaves. My crew's already there when I arrive. Good guys, most of them. We work well together, and there's something honest about construction work that I've always appreciated. You can't fake your way through hanging drywall or running electrical. Either the wall is plumb or it isn't. Either the circuit works or it doesn't. No gray areas, no office politics, no consultants telling you how to do the job you've been doing for 20 years. Boss looks like he didn't sleep again, says Tommy, my lead carpenter. He's been with me for 5 years, knows me well enough to spot the signs. Just thinking, I tell him. Thinking's dangerous, says Pete, our electrician. That's how people get in trouble. He's joking, but there's truth in it. I have been thinking too much lately, thinking about the way Val barely looks at me anymore, thinking about how she's always dressed up for these late meetings, thinking about how she started going to the gym 5 times a week when she used to complain about walking to the mailbox. The morning passes quickly. Physical work has always been my therapy. The rhythm of hammer on nail, the satisfaction of seeing something take shape under your hands. By 11:30, I'm ready for lunch and whatever Megan needs to talk about. Mel's Diner hasn't changed in 20 years. Red vinyl booths, black and white checkered floor, pie case by the register that makes your mouth water just looking at it. Megan's already there when I arrive, sitting in a corner booth, stirring her coffee like she's trying to drill a hole through the bottom of the cup. She looks like her mother did at that age, before the business suits and severe hairstyles. Long blonde hair, blue eyes, that stubborn chin that means she's made up her mind about something. But there's worry in her face today, the kind of worry that makes a father's chest tighten. "Hey, kiddo." I slide into the booth across from her. "Thanks for coming." The waitress brings me coffee without being asked. I've been coming here long enough that they know my order. Black coffee, no sugar, and whatever pie looks best today. "So what's on your mind?" Megan looks around the diner, making sure no one's listening. "It's about Mom and Eric." My stomach drops. "What about them?" "Dad, I think something's going on between them." The words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. I set down my coffee cup carefully, buying time to think. "What do you mean something's going on?" "I mean, I think they're having an affair." She says it quietly, but it might as well be a bang in the silence that follows. I stare at her, looking for any sign that she's joking, that this is some kind of misunderstanding. But Megan's not the type to joke about something like this. "That's a serious accusation, honey." "I know, but Dad, you should see the way they look at each other when they think no one's watching. And Eric's been staying late at the office more and more, always on nights when Mom's working late too. That could be a coincidence." "Could be. But yesterday I went by the office to surprise them with lunch, and Carla at the front desk said they were both in a meeting. But when I walked back to the conference room, it was empty, and Mom's office door was locked. I feel like I'm falling down a very deep hole. Maybe they were in Winston's office. Grandpa's in Florida this week, remember? He left Sunday." "Right." Val's father, Winston Boyd, owns Boyd Logistics, the company where Val works as operations manager and where Eric has been doing consulting work for the past 6 months. Winston's been like a father to me since Val and I got married 22 years ago. He's the one who encouraged me to start my own construction business, who co-signed the loan for my first truck. The idea that his daughter and his grandson-in-law might be... "There's more," Megan says. "Eric's been getting a lot of phone calls lately. Always steps out of the room to take them. And when I asked him about it, he said it was business, but he got really defensive. Megan, I need you to be absolutely sure about what you're saying. This isn't just about your mother and me. This is about your marriage, too." Her eyes fill with tears. "You think I don't know that? You think this is easy for me? I've been going crazy trying to figure out if I'm imagining things or if my husband is cheating on me with my own mother." The waitress approaches with the coffee pot, takes one look at us, and retreats. Smart woman. "What do you want me to do?" I ask. "I don't know. I just needed to tell someone, and you're the only person I trust." I reach across the table and take her hand. "We'll figure this out, okay? But we need to be smart about it. We need proof." "What kind of proof?" "I don't know yet. But if this is really happening, we'll find a way to expose it." We sit in silence for a moment, both of us staring into our coffee cups like they might have answers. Finally, Megan speaks. "Dad, I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of what happens next. If we're right about this, everything changes. My marriage, your marriage, Grandpa's business, everything." I squeeze her hand. "Sometimes everything needs to change, sweetheart. Sometimes that's the only way to fix what's broken." But even as I say it, I'm wondering if some things are too broken to fix. The next 2 weeks pass like a slow-motion car accident. I start paying attention to things I'd been ignoring, and what I see makes my stomach turn. Val's working late almost every night now. When she comes home, she's either exhausted or wired, never anything in between. She takes long showers and goes straight to bed, claiming she's too tired to talk. Her phone is constantly buzzing, and she's started taking it into the bathroom with her. I try to give her the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the business really is demanding. Maybe I'm being paranoid because of what Megan said. But then I find the burner phone. It's a Tuesday morning and Val's rushing around getting ready for work. She asked me to grab her gym bag from the closet because she's planning to work out after her client dinner. I'm pulling the bag down from the shelf when something falls out of the side pocket and clatters across the hardwood floor. A cheap flip phone, the kind pill dealers use in movies. I pick it up and turn it on. There are dozens of text messages, all from someone listed as E in the contacts. I scroll through them and each one is like a knife in my chest. Can't wait to see you tonight. Nate's working late. Come over. You looked incredible in that red dress. I need you. The messages go back months. While I was working 12-hour days to save money for our anniversary trip to Hawaii, my wife was texting another man about how much she needed him. Nate, did you find my bag? Val calls from the bedroom. I slip the phone into my pocket and grab the gym bag. Got it. She appears in the doorway, and for a moment I see her as she really is, a stranger wearing my wife's face. How long has she been lying to me? How long have I been the fool who didn't see what was right in front of him? Thanks, she says, taking the bag. She kisses my cheek, the same perfunctory peck she's been giving me for months. Don't wait up tonight. Where's the client dinner? The waterfront, that new seafood place? I nod like I believe her, but I'm already making plans. After she leaves, I call Megan. I found something, I tell her. What? Can you meet me for lunch? Same place as before? I'll be there. At Mel's diner, I show Megan the phone. She reads through the messages with growing horror, her face getting paler with each one. Oh my God, she whispers. It's really happening. I'm sorry, sweetheart. She looks up at me with tears in her eyes. What are we going to do? I don't know yet, but I think we need to catch them in the act. Get proof that can't be denied. You mean like follow them? Something like that. That evening, I tell my crew I'm knocking off early. Personal business. I drive to the waterfront district and park where I can see the entrance to the seafood restaurant Val mentioned. I wait for 2 hours, but she never shows up. At 9 o'clock, I start driving around, checking hotel parking lots. It's a long shot, but I've got nothing else to go on. I'm about to give up when I spot Val's BMW in the lot of a cheap motel on the outskirts of town. The Starlight Inn, the kind of place that rents rooms by the hour and doesn't ask too many questions. Eric's Mustang is parked 3 spaces away. I sit in my truck for 10 minutes, hands shaking with rage. Part of me wants to kick down the door and drag them both out by their hair, but the rational part of my brain, the part that's kept me out of trouble all these years, tells me to be smart about this. I take out my phone and call Megan. Dad? What's wrong? I found them. The Starlight Inn on Highway 99. Oh, God. Megan, I need you to do something for me and you're not going to like it. What? I want you to FaceTime me in about 5 minutes. Keep the call connected no matter what you see or hear. Dad, what are you planning? Justice. I get out of the truck and walk to room 237. The curtains are drawn, but there's a gap just wide enough to see inside. What I see makes my blood boil. My wife is on top of my son-in-law, both of them without clothes and sweating and completely absorbed in each other. 22 years of marriage, and she's never looked at me the way she's looking at him right now. My phone rings. Megan's FaceTime call. I answer it, then use my construction boot to kick open the door. The cheap lock splinters like kindling, and I step into the room just as Val and Eric scramble to cover themselves with the motel's threadbare sheets. Surprise, I say, holding up my phone so Megan can see everything. Smile for the family album. Val's face goes white. Nate, I can explain. Explain what? How you've been screwing our daughter's husband? How you've been lying to me for months? Or how you've been using a burner phone to coordinate your little love nest meetings? Eric tries to stand up, but he's tangled in the sheets and falls backward onto the bed. This isn't what it looks like. Really? Because it looks like my wife is having an affair with my son-in-law in a $50 a night motel room. Dad? Megan's voice comes through the phone, small and broken. I'm here, sweetheart. You're seeing this, right? Yes. She's crying now. Val finally finds her voice. Nate, please, we can work this out. Work it out? You want to work it out? I laugh, but there's no humor in it. The only thing we're working out is how fast you can pack your crap and get out of my house. Eric finally manages to stand up, clutching a sheet around his waist. Look, man, I know this is messed up, but what? But you thought you could screw my wife behind my back, and I'd never find out. But you thought you could destroy my daughter's marriage and there wouldn't be consequences? It just happened, Val says. We didn't plan this. I pull out the burner phone and toss it on the bed. Months of text messages say otherwise. The look on her face tells me everything I need to know. She's been caught, and she knows it. Dad, I can't watch this anymore, Megan says through the phone. That's okay, honey. You've seen enough. I end the call and look at the two people who've destroyed my family. Here's what's going to happen, I tell them. Eric, you're going to call your parole officer and explain why you're about to be arrested for breaking and entering. What are you talking about? This room is registered to John Smith with a fake credit card. That's fraud. And since you're on probation for that bar fight in Seattle, any new charges mean you go back to prison. Eric's face goes pale. I did my homework on him after Megan started having doubts. Turns out my son-in-law has a record for attack and battery, something he conveniently forgot to mention when he was courting my daughter. You can't prove anything, he says. I don't have to. I just have to make a phone call. I pull out my phone. Mike, it's Nate Garvey. Yeah, I need a favor. I'm at the Starlight Inn, room 237, and I just caught my wife's boyfriend using a fake ID to rent a room. Mike Henderson has been my friend since high school. He's also a detective with the Tacoma Police Department. No, Mike, I'm not joking. Yeah, I'll wait for you. I hang up and look at Eric. You've got about 10 minutes to get dressed and disappear before the cops get here. Or you can stick around and explain to them why you used a fake name to rent this room. Eric doesn't need to be told twice. He starts grabbing his clothes, hopping around the room trying to get dressed while still wrapped in the sheet. It would be funny if it weren't so pathetic. Nate, please, Val says. We can fix this. Fix this? You want to fix this? I step closer to the bed, and she shrinks back against the headboard. You threw away 22 years of marriage for this piece of garbage. You destroyed your own daughter's marriage. You betrayed your father who trusted both of you with his business. What exactly do you think we can fix? She starts crying, but I'm all out of sympathy. Eric finishes getting dressed and heads for the door. This isn't over, he says. You're right, I tell him. It's just getting started. He runs for his car, and I hear the Mustang's engine roar to life. 30 seconds later, he's gone, leaving my wife alone with the wreckage of our marriage. Get dressed, I tell her. Mike will be here soon, and I don't think you want him to see you like this. She wraps the sheet around herself and starts looking for her clothes. What are you going to tell him? The truth, that I caught my wife cheating and her boyfriend ran when he realized the police were coming. Nate, please, I know I made a mistake, but a mistake? A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk on the way home from work. This is betrayal. This is the end of everything we built together. She's fully dressed now, standing by the window like she's thinking about running too. What happens now? Now you call a lawyer and figure out how to divide up 22 years of lies. Now you explain to your father why his business consultant was screwing his daughter in a cheap motel. Now you live with what you've done. Police sirens in the distance, getting closer. And Val, if you think I'm going to make this easy for you, you're wrong. If you think I'm going to quietly disappear so you can play house with Eric, you're wrong about that too. You wanted to destroy our family? Congratulations. But I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of person you really are. The police cars pull into the parking lot, red and blue lights flashing through the motel room window. Mike gets out of the first car, and I can see him shaking his head as he walks toward the room. This is just the beginning. Mike Henderson looks like a cop, even when he's not trying to. 6 feet tall, broad shoulders, gray hair cut short, and eyes that have seen too much of the world's ugliness to be surprised by anything. He's been my friend since we played football together at Lincoln High, and he's pulled me out of more than one bad situation over the years. But this is different. This isn't a bar fight or a dispute with a difficult client. This is my marriage imploding in real time. Jesus, Nate, he says, looking around the motel room. When you said you caught your wife cheating, I thought you meant you found some text messages or something. I found those too. I hand him the burner phone. He scrolls through the messages, his expression getting grimmer with each one. How long has this been going on? Months from the look of it. Maybe longer. Val is sitting on the edge of the bed, fully dressed but looking like she wants to disappear into the cheap carpet. She hasn't said a word since Mike arrived. And the guy who ran? Eric Lang, my son-in-law. Mike's eyebrows go up. Your daughter's husband? Yeah, Crap. That's cold, even for a cheating spouse. He asks Val a few questions, but she just stares at the floor and mumbles one-word answers. There's not much he can do anyway. Infidelity isn't a crime, and Eric didn't actually break any laws by using a fake name to rent the room. It's sleazy, but not illegal. After Mike leaves, I drive home alone. Val went to her sister's house, claiming she needs time to think. What she needs is time to figure out how to spin this story in her favor, but I don't tell her that. The house feels different now, empty in a way that has nothing to do with Val not being there. I walk through the rooms we've shared for 2 decades, and all I can see are the cracks I missed, the signs I ignored, the slow decay of something I thought was solid. I pour myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sit in my workshop in the garage. It's the one room in the house that's purely mine, filled with tools and half-finished projects and the smell of sawdust and motor oil. I built the workbench myself from reclaimed oak, and every tool has its place. Order in a world that suddenly makes no sense. My phone rings. Megan. Dad, are you okay? I'm fine, sweetheart. How are you holding up? I don't know. I keep thinking about what I saw on that FaceTime call. My husband and my mother. She starts crying again. Where are you now? At Sarah's apartment. I couldn't go home. I can't face Eric right now. Sarah's her best friend from high school, a good kid who's studying to be a nurse. At least Megan has somewhere safe to go. That's probably smart. Take all the time you need. Dad, what are we going to do? It's the same question she asked me 2 weeks ago, but now it carries more weight. Now we're not just talking about suspicions and possibilities. Now we're talking about the complete destruction of 2 marriages and God knows what else. I don't know yet, but I promise you this, they're not going to get away with it. What do you mean? I mean, Eric and your mother think they can destroy our family and walk away without consequences. They're wrong. The next morning, I call in sick to work for the first time in 5 years. I need time to think, to plan, to figure out my next move. Tommy can handle the crew for a day. I start with research. Eric Lang, business consultant. I want to know everything about this man who destroyed my daughter's marriage. It doesn't take long to find some interesting information. Eric's consulting business, Lang Strategic Solutions, has been around for less than 2 years. Before that, he was in the Army, stationed at Joint Base Lewis McChord. He was discharged under circumstances that aren't entirely clear, but I find a police report from 3 years ago. Attack and battery at a bar in Seattle. He pled guilty to a reduced charge and got 2 years probation. More digging reveals that Eric's consulting business doesn't seem to have many clients besides Boyd Logistics. In fact, from what I can tell, Winston's company is his only major client. That's interesting. Either Eric is really bad at marketing his services, or there's something else going on. I call Winston's office, but Carla tells me he's still in Florida and won't be back until next week. That gives me time to do more investigating. My phone buzzes. A text from Val. We need to talk. I ignore it. Another text. Nate, please, I know you're angry, but we can work through this. I turn off my phone. That afternoon, I drive to Eric's office. It's in a strip mall on South Tacoma Way, sandwiched between a nail salon and a tax preparation service. Not exactly the kind of place you'd expect to find a successful business consultant. The office is small and sparsely furnished. A desk, 2 chairs, a filing cabinet, and a motivational poster about teamwork. Eric's sitting behind the desk, talking on his phone. He looks up when I walk in, and his face goes pale. I'll call you back, he says into the phone, then hangs up. Nate, what are you doing here? Just wanted to have a little chat, man to man. He stands up, and I can see he's nervous. Good, he should be. Look, about last night was just the beginning, Eric. See, I've been doing some research on you. Lang Strategic Solutions. Interesting business model you've got there. I don't know what you mean. One client, my father-in-law's company. That's either really impressive customer loyalty or really bad business development. Which is it? He doesn't answer, but I can see his jaw tightening. And then there's your background. Army discharge under questionable circumstances, attack conviction, 2 years probation that doesn't end for another 6 months. You know what happens if you get arrested again before then? You can't prove anything. I don't have to prove anything. I just have to make a phone call to your probation officer and let him know you've been engaging in some questionable activities. I step closer to his desk, and he takes a step back. Here's the thing, Eric. You screwed my wife. You destroyed my daughter's marriage. You betrayed the trust of a man who treated you like family, and you think you're just going to walk away from this without consequences. What do you want? I want you to understand that your life as you know it is over. I want you to understand that every move you make from now on, I'm going to be watching. And when you screw up, and you will screw up, because guys like you always do, I'm going to be there to make sure you pay for it. He tries to look tough, but I can see the fear in his eyes. Is that a threat? It's a promise. I turn to leave, then stop at the door. Oh, and Eric? You might want to start looking for new clients. Something tells me your contract with Boyd Logistics is about to be terminated. I spend the rest of the week gathering information and making plans. Mike helps me understand the legal aspects of what I'm dealing with. The divorce will be messy and expensive, but I've got evidence of infidelity, which should work in my favor. More importantly, I've got evidence that Eric has been using his position at Boyd Logistics to manipulate contracts and inflate his consulting fees. It's not quite fraud, but it's close enough to cause problems for him. Winston comes back from Florida on Monday, and I call him that evening. Nate, my boy, how are you? How's that beautiful wife of mine? Winston Boyd is 72 years old and still sharp as a tack. He built Boyd Logistics from nothing, starting with a single delivery truck 40 years ago. Now it's one of the largest freight companies in the Pacific Northwest. He's been like a father to me, and what I'm about to tell him is going to break his heart. Winston, we need to talk, in person. Of course. Is everything all right? You sound strange. I'd rather not discuss it over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow morning? Early. Certainly. My office at 7? I'll be there. That night, I sit in my empty house and think about the conversation I'm going to have with Winston tomorrow. He loves Val, despite her flaws. He's proud of the work she's done at the company, and he's been talking about making her a full partner when he retires. This news is going to devastate him, but he needs to know. Not just about the affair, but about what Eric's been doing with the business. If I'm right about what I've found, Eric's been systematically overcharging for his services and manipulating contracts to benefit himself. It's not just betrayal, it's theft. My phone buzzes. Another text from Val. Please call me. We need to figure this out. I delete the message without reading it twice. Tomorrow, everything changes. Tomorrow, I start fighting back. Winston's office is on the top floor of the Boyd Logistics building with windows that look out over Commencement Bay. I've been here dozens of times over the years for Christmas parties and family dinners and the occasional business discussion. But this morning feels different. This morning I'm here to destroy his daughter's reputation and possibly his business relationship with his grandson-in-law. Winston looks older than he did when he left for Florida 2 weeks ago. His hair is a little grayer, his shoulders a little more stooped. 72 years of building a business from nothing will do that to a man. Coffee? He asks, gesturing to the machine in the corner of his office. Thanks. He pours 2 cups and hands me one, then settles into the chair behind his massive oak desk. The desk is covered with papers and reports, evidence of a man who still works 12-hour days despite being decades past retirement age. So what's this about, Nate? You sounded upset on the phone. I take a deep breath. There's no easy way to say this. Winston, Val's having an affair. He sets down his coffee cup so hard that it sloshes onto the papers on his desk. What did you say? She's been having an affair with Eric for months. The color drains from his face. That's not possible. Eric is married to Megan. He's family. I caught them together at a motel. I have photos, text messages, everything. I pull out my phone and show him the pictures I took at the Starlight Inn. His hands shake as he scrolls through them, his face getting paler with each image. My God, he whispers. My own daughter. I'm sorry, Winston. I know this is hard to hear. He sits in silence for a long moment, staring at the photos. When he finally looks up, there are tears in his eyes. How long have you known? I suspected something was wrong for a while, but I only found out for sure last week. Megan had suspicions too. Megan knows. She's the one who first noticed something was off between them. She's staying with a friend right now. She can't face Eric. Winston stands up and walks to the window, his back to me. 22 years of marriage, and she throws it away for him. There's more, Winston. He turns around. More? I think Eric's been stealing from you. I pull out the folder I've been preparing all week. Bank records, contract documents, invoices, everything I could find about Eric's business relationship with Boyd Logistics. Look at these consulting fees. He's been charging you $50,000 a month for services that should cost maybe $10,000. And these contracts he's been advising you on, they're all with companies that kick back a percentage to his consulting firm. Winston takes the folder and starts going through it, his expression getting darker with each page. Son of a witch, he mutters. Son of a witch. He's been using his relationship with Val to manipulate the business. She's been approving his invoices without question, probably because she's sleeping with him. Winston slams the folder down on his desk. How much? From what I can tell, at least $500,000 over the past 6 months. Maybe more, $500,000. He says it like he can't quite believe it. My own daughter helped him steal $500,000 from me. I'm sorry, Winston. He walks back to the window and stares out at the bay. What do you want me to do about it? That's up to you. But if it were me, I'd fire them both and turn the evidence over to the police. Fire my own daughter? She betrayed you, Winston. She betrayed the family and the business. And she helped Eric steal from you. He's quiet for a long time. Finally, he turns around. I need time to think about this. I understand. But Nate, thank you for bringing this to me. I know it couldn't have been easy. I stand up to leave. Winston, there's one more thing. Eric's on probation for attack. If he gets arrested for fraud, he goes to prison. No bail, no plea bargain. Prison. Winston nods slowly. Good. That afternoon, I get a call from Megan. Dad, Eric came by Sarah's apartment looking for me. He seemed really agitated. What did he want? He wanted to talk, to explain himself. But Sarah told him I wasn't there and he got angry. He started yelling and making threats. My blood runs cold. What kind of threats? He said if I didn't come home and work this out with him, there would be consequences. He said the family business was more important than our personal problems. Where are you now? Still at Sarah's. But Dad, I'm scared. Eric's never been violent with me, but he was different today. Desperate. Stay where you are. I'm coming to get you. Where are we going? Somewhere safe. I pick up Megan and bring her back to my house. She looks exhausted, like she hasn't slept in days. I make her a sandwich and a cup of tea, and we sit at the kitchen table where I used to help her with her homework when she was a kid. Dad, what's going to happen to me? I mean, legally, with the divorce and everything? We'll figure it out. But first, we need to make sure you're safe. You really think Eric would hurt me? I think Eric's a desperate man who's about to lose everything, and desperate men do stupid things. That evening, my phone rings. Val, Nate, we need to talk. I don't think we have anything to say to each other. Please, just give me 5 minutes. Fine. 5 minutes. She shows up 20 minutes later, looking like she's been crying for a week. Her hair is a mess, her makeup is smeared, and she's wearing the same clothes she had on yesterday. You told him, didn't you? She says as soon as she walks in the door. Told who what? My father. You told him about Eric and me. Among other things. What other things? I hand her a copy of the financial documents I showed Winston. She looks through them, and I can see the moment she realizes what they mean. Oh, God, she whispers. Did you know? About the money? She doesn't answer, but the look on her face tells me everything I need to know. You did know. You helped him. It wasn't supposed to be like this, she says. It just got out of hand. $500,000, Val. You helped him steal $500,000 from your own father. We were going to pay it back. With what money? Eric's business is a joke. His only client is your father's company, and that's only because you were feeding him inside information. She starts crying again, but I'm all out of sympathy. Your 5 minutes are up, I tell her. Nate, please, I know I made mistakes, but we can fix this. We can make it right. How? How do you fix 22 years of marriage? How do you fix betraying your own daughter? How do you fix stealing from your father? I don't know, but we have to try. No, we don't. You made your choices, Val. Now you get to live with the consequences. She stands up to leave, then turns back to me. This isn't over. You're right. It's just getting started. After she leaves, Megan comes downstairs. She's been listening from the kitchen. Is it true? About the money? Yeah. Mom helped Eric steal from Grandpa? Yeah. She sits down on the couch next to me, and for a moment she looks like the little girl who used to crawl into my lap when she had bad dreams. Dad, I'm scared. Not just about Eric, but about everything. What happens to Grandpa's business? What happens to our family? I don't know, sweetheart. But whatever happens, we'll get through it together. Promise. Promise. But even as I say it, I know things are going to get worse before they get better. Eric and Val are desperate now, and desperate people are dangerous. They're going to fight back, and when they do, it's going to get ugly. I just hope we're ready for what comes next. The war starts 3 days later with a knock on my door at 6 in the morning. I'm barely awake when I open it to find Detective Sarah Martinez standing on my porch with a warrant for my arrest. "Nathan Garvey, you're under arrest for stalking and criminal maltreatment." "What the hell are you talking about?" She reads me my rights while putting me in handcuffs, and all I can think about is how this is going to look to my neighbors, to my crew, to everyone who knows me. Mrs. Henderson from next door is already peeking out her window, probably reaching for her phone to call everyone she knows. At the police station, I find out that Eric filed a complaint claiming I've been following him, threatening him, and trying to sabotage his business. He's got a restraining order that requires me to stay at least 500 feet away from him at all times. Mike shows up an hour later, looking embarrassed and angry. "This is BS, Nate, and we both know it. Can you make it go away?" "I'm working on it, but Eric's got a good lawyer and he's telling a convincing story. Says you threatened to destroy his life, that you've been following him around town, that you broke into his office." "I walked into his office during business hours. The door was unlocked." "I know that. But his story is that you forced your way in and threatened him with physical violence." "That's a lie." "I know it's a lie, but proving it is going to take time. They release me on my own recognizance 6 hours later, but the damage is done. By the time I get home, there are 3 messages on my answering machine from clients asking if the rumors about my arrest are true. Word travels fast in the construction business, and nobody wants to hire a contractor who might be a violent stalker. Megan is waiting for me when I get home, her face pale with worry. "Dad, what happened?" "Eric's fighting back. He's trying to make me look like the bad guy." "Can he do that?" "He just did." That evening, Winston calls. "Nate, I heard about your arrest. Are you all right?" "I'm fine. It's all lies, Winston." "I know that. But we have a problem. Eric's lawyer contacted me today. He's threatening to sue the company for wrongful termination if I fire him." "On what grounds?" "He claims I'm discriminating against him because of his relationship with Val. Says it's a personal vendetta that has nothing to do with his job performance." "What about the financial evidence I showed you?" "His lawyer says it's all legitimate consulting work and he's got documentation to prove it. Apparently, he's been very careful to cover his tracks." I feel like I'm drowning. Every move I make, Eric has a countermove. Every piece of evidence I think I have, he's got an explanation for. So what happens now? I don't know. My lawyer says we need to be very careful how we proceed. One wrong move and Eric could end up owning half the company. The next few days are a nightmare. Word of my arrest spreads through the construction community like wildfire, and 3 of my biggest clients cancel their contracts. My crew shows up to work, but there's tension in the air. They're wondering if their jobs are secure, if their boss is really the kind of man who stalks and threatens people. Tommy pulls me aside at the end of the week. "Boss, I've been with you for 5 years. I know you're not the kind of guy who would do what they're saying you did." "Thanks, Tommy. But the other guys are getting nervous. Pete's already talking about looking for another job." "I understand. What I'm saying is you need to fix this. Fast, before you lose everything you've built." He's right, and I know it, but I don't know how to fix it. Eric's got me backed into a corner, and every move I make seems to make things worse. That night, I'm sitting in my workshop trying to figure out my next move when my phone rings. It's a number I don't recognize. "Hello? Mr. Garvey? This is Carla from Boyd Logistics. I probably shouldn't be calling you, but I thought you should know something." Carla is Winston's secretary, a woman in her 50s who's been with the company for 20 years. "What is it, Carla?" "It's about Mr. Lang and your wife. I've been watching them for months, and I know what's been going on, but there's more." "More?" "Mr. Lang's been using his access to our computer system to copy client lists and financial information. I think he's planning to start his own logistics company and steal our customers." This is the break I've been waiting for. "Can you prove it?" "I've been keeping copies of everything. Email logs, computer access records, file downloads, everything." "Why are you telling me this?" "Because Mr. Boyd's been good to me over the years, and I can't stand to see him get cheated by his own family. And because I know you're not the kind of man who would stalk anybody. I've seen you at company parties with your daughter. You're a good father. Carla, I need you to do something for me. What? I need you to make copies of everything you have and give them to Detective Mike Henderson at the Tacoma Police Department. Can you do that? Yes, sir, I can do that. And Carla, be careful. If Eric finds out you're helping me, he might try to retaliate. Don't worry about me, Mr. Garvey. I can take care of myself. The next morning, I call Mike and tell him about Carla's information. He agrees to meet with her and review the evidence. If what she's telling me is true, Eric's not just guilty of infidelity and overcharging for consulting services, he's guilty of corporate espionage and theft of trade secrets. But Eric's not done fighting. That afternoon, I get a call from Megan. Dad, you need to get over here right now. Where are you? At Sarah's apartment. Eric's here and he's drunk and angry and he won't leave. I'm on my way. Dad, be careful. He's got a tool. My blood turns to ice. What? He's waving it around, saying he's not going to let you destroy his life. Sarah called the police, but they're not here yet. Megan, I want you to lock yourself in the bathroom and don't come out until the police get there. What about Sarah? Tell her to get out of the apartment, go to a neighbor's house, anywhere but there. Dad, what if he hurts someone? He won't. He's just desperate and scared, but I'm coming over, and we're going to end this. I break about 6 traffic laws getting to Sarah's apartment complex. When I arrive, there are already 2 police cars in the parking lot, and I can see officers taking positions around the building. Mike is there, coordinating the response. Where are they? I ask him. 3rd floor, apartment 3B. Eric's barricaded himself inside with your daughter and her friend. Is he really armed? We don't know for sure, but we're treating it like he is. I want to talk to him. Absolutely not. You've got a restraining order against you, remember? If you go anywhere near that building, I'll have to arrest you. Mike, he's got my daughter. I know, but you need to let us handle this. I stand behind the police cars feeling helpless, while negotiators try to talk Eric into surrendering. Through the apartment window, I can see shadows moving around, but I can't tell what's happening. After 2 hours, the apartment door opens and Sarah comes running out, crying and shaking. The paramedics check her over while Mike talks to her. What did she say? I ask when he comes back. Eric's having some kind of breakdown. He's been drinking and talking about how everyone's against him, how you've ruined his life. But he doesn't actually have a tool. He's been waving around a cell phone and pretending it's a weapon. What about Megan? She's okay. She's been trying to calm him down, talk him into surrendering. Another hour passes before Eric finally gives up. He comes out of the apartment with his hands up, looking like he hasn't slept in days. The police arrest him for false imprisonment, making terrorist threats, and violating the terms of his probation. As they're putting him in the police car, he looks at me and screams, "This is all your fault. You destroyed everything." Maybe I did, but he destroyed it first. Megan comes out of the apartment a few minutes later and I wrap her in my arms. Are you okay? I'm fine, just scared. It's over now. Is it? Really? I look at the police cars, at Eric sitting in the back seat of one of them, at the crowd of neighbors who've gathered to watch the drama unfold. Yeah, I tell her, it's really over. But I'm wrong. It's not over yet. Eric's arrest should have been the end of it, but it's actually just the beginning of the final act. While he's sitting in jail waiting for his bail hearing, Val makes one last desperate play to salvage something from the wreckage of our lives. She shows up at my house on a Thursday evening, 2 weeks after Eric's arrest, looking like a different person. Her hair is shorter, dyed a darker shade of blonde. She's lost weight, and there are dark circles under her eyes that makeup can't quite hide. I know you don't want to see me, she says when I open the door, but I need 5 minutes. You had your 5 minutes several times. Nate, please, I have something you need to hear. Against my better judgment, I let her in. She sits on the edge of the couch like she's ready to run at any moment. Eric's lawyer contacted me, she says. He wants to make a deal. What kind of deal? He'll plead guilty to the charges against him and pay back the money he stole from Dad's company. In exchange, he wants you to drop the stalking charges and agree not to testify against him in any civil proceedings. And why would I do that? Because if you don't, he's going to tell everyone about the money you've been skimming from your construction jobs. I stare at her. What money? The cash payments you take from clients to avoid taxes. The materials you buy wholesale and charge retail for. The overtime you claim on city jobs when your crew's only working 8 hours. Every word hits me like a physical blow. She's talking about things that only someone very close to me would know about. Small things, corner cutting that every contractor does, but illegal nonetheless. How do you know about that? I've been your wife for 22 years, Nate. I know how you operate. Those are minor tax issues at worst. Maybe, but Eric's got documentation, photos of you accepting cash payments, receipts showing the markup on materials, timesheets that don't match the hours you billed. You gave him that information. She doesn't deny it. Why? I ask. Why would you help him destroy me? Because I love him, she says simply. And because you were never going to just let this go. You were going to keep pushing until you destroyed both of us. You destroyed yourselves. Maybe. But Eric doesn't deserve to go to prison for this. He made mistakes, but he's not a criminal. He stole $500,000 from your father? He borrowed it. He was going to pay it back. With what money? She doesn't have an answer for that. Here's the deal, Nate. You drop the charges against Eric, you don't testify in any civil proceedings, and you agree to a quiet divorce with a 50-50 split of assets. In exchange, Eric keeps his mouth shut about your business practices, and we all move on with our lives. And if I don't agree, then Eric's lawyer releases everything to the IRS, the State Revenue Department, and every client you've ever worked for. Your business is finished, and you probably go to jail for tax evasion. I sit in silence, trying to process what she's telling me. After everything that's happened, after all the betrayal and lies and manipulation, she's still trying to protect Eric. And she's willing to destroy me to do it. You've got 24 hours to decide, she says, standing up to leave. Val, she stops at the door. Do you really think I'm stupid enough to let myself be blackmailed? What do you mean? I mean, you're not the only one who's been gathering evidence. I walk to my desk and pull out a thick folder. Financial records showing Eric's theft from Boyd Logistics. Email records showing how you helped him manipulate contracts. Bank records showing the offshore accounts where he's been hiding money. And my personal favorite, a recording of Eric admitting to Megan that he never loved her, that he only married her to get close to your family's business. Her face goes white. Where did you get all this? Carla's been very helpful. So has Mike. Turns out when you're investigating someone for stalking, you discover all sorts of interesting information. You can't use any of that. It was obtained illegally. Maybe some of it was, but not all of it. And even if it can't be used in court, it can certainly be released to the press. How do you think your father's going to feel when he sees Eric on the evening news admitting that he manipulated his way into the family just to steal from the business? She sits back down. Hard. What do you want? I want you to withdraw Eric's blackmail threat. I want you to convince him to plead guilty to all charges without any deals or negotiations. And I want you both to disappear from my life and my daughter's life forever. And if we do that, then I keep this information to myself. Eric goes to prison for a few years instead of decades, and you get to start over somewhere else without your reputation completely destroyed. That's not much of a deal. It's better than you deserve. She stares at the folder in my hands, and I can see her calculating her options. I need to talk to Eric. You've got until tomorrow night. After that, everything goes public. She leaves without another word, and I'm alone again with the wreckage of my marriage. The next evening she calls. We accept your terms. Smart choice. Nate? What? I really did love you once. I know. That's what makes this so much worse. Eric pleads guilty the following week. He gets 3 years in prison for theft and fraud, plus 5 years probation. He'll be out in 18 months if he behaves himself, but his career as a business consultant is over. Val moves to Portland, where her sister lives. She takes a job as an office manager for a small trucking company, making about a third of what she was earning at her father's business. We finalize our divorce 6 months later. She gets the house. I don't want it anymore anyway. And I get my business and my tools and my freedom. Winston offers me a job running the operations side of Boyd Logistics, but I turn him down. I'm a contractor, not an executive, but we stay close, and he walks Megan down the aisle when she remarries 2 years later to a teacher she meets at the community college where she's finishing her degree. The wedding is small and simple, held in Winston's backyard on a sunny Saturday in June. Megan looks beautiful in her mother's wedding dress, the one Val wore when we got married 24 years earlier. It seems fitting somehow, like we're reclaiming something that was stolen from us. During the father-daughter dance, Megan looks up at me with tears in her eyes. Thank you, Dad. For what? For fighting for me. for not letting them get away with it. You don't have to thank me for that, sweetheart. That's what fathers do. Not all fathers. Then they're not doing it right. The song ends, and I kiss her forehead and hand her over to her new husband, a good man who teaches 5th grade and coaches Little League, and looks at my daughter like she's the most precious thing in the world. Later that evening, after the guests have gone home and the caterers have cleaned up, I'm sitting on Winston's back porch with a beer, watching the sun set over Puget Sound. It's been 3 years since that night at the Starlight Inn. 3 years since my world fell apart and I had to build it back up again. I've got a new house now, smaller than the old one, but perfectly suited for a single man who spends most of his time working. My business is thriving. Turns out that standing up to bullies and blackmailers is good for your reputation in the construction world. And I've got my daughter back, really back, in a way that I wasn't sure would ever be possible. My phone buzzes, a text from an unknown number. I'm getting out next week. We need to talk. Eric. He's been in prison for 18 months. And apparently his parole hearing went well. I delete the message without responding. Some conversations aren't worth having. Winston comes out onto the porch with his own beer and sits down beside me. Beautiful wedding, he says. Yeah, it was. Megan looked happy. She is happy, finally. We sit in comfortable silence for a while. Two men who've been through hell together and come out the other side. Any regrets? Winston asks. I think about it for a moment. Do I regret the way things turned out? Do I regret the pain and the betrayal and the long, ugly fight that tore my family apart? No, I say finally. No regrets. Even about Val? Especially about Val. She showed me who she really was, and I showed her who I really was. Turns out we weren't the same people we were when we got married. People change. Yeah, they do, sometimes for the better. The sun disappears behind the mountains, and the sky turns purple and gold. In the distance, I can hear the sound of traffic on I-5, people going home from work, going about their ordinary lives. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Eric. I know where you live now. We're not done. This time, I don't delete the message. Instead, I forward it to Mike, along with a note. Looks like Eric's planning to violate his parole before he's even officially released. Might want to have a chat with his parole officer. Then I turn off my phone and finish my beer. Some people never learn. They think they can keep playing the same games, making the same threats, trying to intimidate people into giving them what they want, but they're wrong. I learned something important during those 3 years of fighting back against Eric and Val. Sometimes the only way to win is to refuse to lose. Sometimes the only way to protect the people you love is to become the kind of person your enemies fear. Eric wants to threaten me? Let him try. I've got friends in the police department, a successful business, a daughter who loves me, and absolutely nothing left to lose. But more than that, I've got something Eric will never understand. The knowledge that I fought for what mattered and won. He can make all the threats he wants. I'll be ready. I stand up and shake hands with Winston. Thanks for everything, I tell him. Thank you, Nate, for saving my business, for protecting Megan, for being the man I always knew you were. I drive home through the quiet streets of Tacoma, past the construction sites where my crews will be working tomorrow, past the neighborhoods where I've built homes for families who trusted me with their dreams. At a red light, I check my phone. 3 more messages from Eric, each one angrier than the last. I delete them all and drive home. Some battles end with a bang. Others end with the simple decision to stop fighting and start living. This one ends with me walking into my house, locking the door behind me, and sleeping peacefully for the first time in 4 years. Tomorrow, Eric can try to restart his war if he wants to. But tonight, I'm done. I won.